Sania Mirza now joining us. Sania, great that you could join us. In addition to all that you have done to make us proud, you're also running the Mirza Sports Foundation, your family, where you're sponsoring what is 500 girls' education every single year.
Wow.
You've also opened a tennis academy, Sania, where girls and boys can both get trained. And we had somebody here in our audience earlier saying that they really wish Zia was here and she was really wishing to speak to you. So maybe I'll get you to say hi.
She's a huge fan. She wants to be a tennis player and she was very excited to meet you.
I know, I actually saw that on the show earlier and I was actually looking forward to, unfortunately I'm not there to meet her, but I was really looking forward to at least speaking to her.
All right, Sania, we've been hearing some really disturbing stories, and although we did have, I think, one of the ladies who was saying some most disturbing things, recanting right now on national television in a sense and saying, okay, I've changed, I won't do it anymore. But these really horrible stories of how, there's no point in having girl children and how they are murdered within days of their being born, if they're not murdered even before they are born. It's really worrying and frightening at the extent to which this still happens in our country.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's so weird for me because we come from a household, obviously. It's gone.
No, we come from
a household, obviously, of two girls. We come from a household of two girls. We've not had a brother, so to say, in the family, and we've never had the need to ever say, oh, I ever wanted a brother, or my parents ever had the need to say we wanted a son. I mean, I remember, I think this was in 2005, when I was the brand ambassador for Save a Girl Child for India. The numbers that you see are so disturbing, the ratio from girls to boys, and I think that we feel, because we feel, oh, we're educated and we live in these these cities, that it doesn't happen, but it actually happens so much in the cities as well. And all, I think, me and I mean everyone that's coming on your show, a person like Priyanka, for everything that we achieve, why do we need a guy? We can be a Miss World and we can be the #1 tennis player.
We love you, Vikram. Please stay. Vikram felt very bad about that.
I was hoping to escape 6,000.
But we do, Sania, you're right. We do need to educate the boys to be able to treat women with just as much respect. Like you and me have been fortunate enough to come from families where our parents didn't feel the need for a boy child because we were girls. They treated us with as much opportunity as they would to any child.
Yeah, no, I mean 100%, and I think that we as people who have been fortunate enough to achieve so much lay such an example to women that the disturbing things that we've been hearing on this show all day. I think that it's our responsibility to try and educate people in India, to try and say that, listen, having a girl is a plus, it's not a minus.
Absolutely.
Sania, if I could just ask you, sports and cinema actually are two areas which every Indian connects with, and the lessons that you get from there are something which resonate with everybody. Now, interesting, I'm surprised that attitudes aren't changing, because both in sports and in films, you have such strong women who are out there who are making a mark. And just look at sports, for example, starting from P.T. Usha, even before that, it's really been wonderful. Where do we get our medals from if we go to the Asian Games or Commonwealth? Most of them are women who are doing it. At what point is that message going to start seeping into every village and every town?
I think that it's our responsibility, like I said, I hope very soon. But, I, as a woman, want to do anything and everything that I can to spread that word. And I think that what you guys are doing is absolutely amazing. And I think more initiatives like this are going to spread the word.
Thank you so much, Sania. Before we take a break, I just want to ask you one question. When a lot of people think that when you have a traditional mindset, or you come from a family which conserves values of being brought up in a country with a culture like India, that doesn't mean that we have a modern mindset. Now, there's a big conflict about that when a lot of people have conversations saying, does a traditional mindset mean that a girl should not go to school, or she should just get married and be sent off? Like Kunal was saying, that a lot of his uncles and all would come home and say, ki, "Arey bete se aap table kyun lagwa rahe ho?" But I mean, do you think that those little things which we inculcate in our children, which we teach our kids from the time when they are really small, will make a huge difference in the generation that's coming next?
Oh, definitely. I think that, you know, when I was growing up, I've had this experience myself. When I used to, you know, go to tennis, and people used to come up to my parents and ridicule them and say, what are you doing? She's a girl from Hyderabad. Right. You actually think she's going to play Wimbledon? Like that was the attitude that was there. And my parents, I mean, obviously they were not like that, so they didn't care what people were saying. They used to say things like, my own relatives used to say things like they were more worried that I was going to get Savli and I wouldn't find a boy to get married to. So,
no, but I
you know,
remember
these
also
are things that we've all
when you started playing Wimbledon, and there was so much spoken about. I mean, it's the mindset. The fact that you were playing Wimbledon, my God, was phenomenal. But there was so much spoken about what you were wearing and what you were supposed to wear.
Or what I was not wearing, rather. I think that was what was spoken about.
It's bizarre. I mean, I remember that so clearly. Well, thank you so much, Sania.
No, it is. It was so bizarre.
It was. How did you feel at that point, though? I want to know.
No, I was 18. You know, I was 18, and I was like, what are these people talking about? I'm sitting there thinking, you know, I've worked all my life since I was 6 years old to play Wimbledon, and I've actually won Junior Wimbledon, and I've come back. And I said, why do people care about what I'm doing? I mean, don't they know what Wimbledon means? That was what was going in my head.
I swear to you, that's what was going in my head
you
too.
Know, no, and you know, like you said earlier on the show, that just because you're modern, it doesn't mean that you know, you cannot follow a traditional Indian woman way. I mean, women empowerment and being a traditional Indian, it can go hand in hand. It doesn't need to be separate.
You know, can I just ask you about the experience that you are having with educating, you know, girls, and how does that work, and to what extent do you think initiatives like this can really make a difference?
I think that this needs to be incorporated in schools as well. You know, not just because I think kids spend a lot of time in schools. Of course, it needs to be incorporated in parents and how they bring the kids up, and trying to teach the boys and educate the boys and tell them that the person who's given birth to them is a woman. And you know, they say in Urdu, they say, "Jo darja aurat ka hota hai, it's the highest in the world." And I think that needs to be taught. You know, more than men, even to girls, to respect themselves, to understand and not feel like an inferior being, because we are not, and we don't need to feel like that.
Wow, well said, really well said.
All right, Sania.
Sania Mirza, a huge example of what our campaign is called, Our Girls, Our Pride. She's definitely a pride.
Thank you so much, Sania, for joining us, and thank you for those words.
Thank you.